Welcome back. Tourism Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire has shed additional light on the ongoing debate surrounding the GPH project and the details surrounding the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the government and the developer. Opposition claims are rife that the two ports earmarked for the development were sold to the foreign company. UWP speculation also suggests that St. Lucia stands to lose millions in seaport revenue based on the terms and conditions for investor ROI.
Tourism Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire has quashed the opposition's spin on the redevelopment plans for Port Castries Soufrière ever since the government disclosed that a memorandum of understanding had been signed with Global Port Holdings. The United Workers' Party has dogged the Philip JP administration for answers about the details of the agreement. Opposition leader Alan Chasney has been the lead critique on the matter, suggesting that the ports earmarked for the improvements had been sold and that the country stood to lose millions in revenue as a result. But speaking on the matter, Tourism Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire stressed that talks with GPH was initiated by the United Workers' Party government while in office. In disclosing the plans for the docks, Hilaire stressed that the MOU signed with the company is for now merely a statement of intent and nothing more.
A fisherman's village will be built there, allowing, some of the persons who live there, we will relocate them. The fishermen will get new quarters, new restaurants, boardwalk, entertainment area. The whole area will be redeveloped, traffic management systems put in place, whatnot. It could have been done by them, but they did not do it. So we will be sitting with all the stakeholders, discussing with them, sharing ideas with them. GPH will bring down their technical team that will listen to the ideas, the concerns, and then we will finalize a concession agreement with GPH that will give the details. What we have signed is an MOU, really is a statement of intent, what we hope to achieve, what we hope to do, and what the minimum amount of money they will spend.
Hilaire explained that when it comes to return on investment for the developer, there is an arrangement for a profit and revenue sharing arrangement based on port levies and other taxes collected.
GPH will be managing the cruise operations. That means they will ensure that the services and the facilities for the cruise operations are world-class and certainly competitive to anybody else in the region. In exchange for that, they will manage, we will collect the head tax, we'll pass it on to them, they take their share, we give them their share, we keep our share. We've also agreed that in the future, they will negotiate for increases in the years to come. Once they get increases, we'll propose how to share the increases. They will work with us to manage the fisherman's village, the new vendors arcade, and basically we will agree in the concessions agreement how we share any returns that come. So GPH is bringing to us the financing to upgrade the standards and the competitiveness of the port, including Soufrière. And in exchange, we will share the head tax with them for a number of years. Thereafter, they don't get a share. And we'll also discuss with them how to share the management of the facilities and any returns that come from it.
Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
President of Rise St. Lucia Inc., Dr. Venus Cherry, is speaking out against a culture which, he says, protects perpetrators of sexual violence and blames the victims. His comments condemns the rape of an 11-year-old girl, and he is calling on St. Lucia's judicial authorities to take stronger measures in cases of sexual violence.
Angered by the recent sexual assault case involving an 11-year-old, Chairman of Rise St. Lucia, Dr. Venus Cherry, is calling on citizens to speak up against the sexual violence and protect the victims. Cherry says too many times the excuse of protecting the victim leads to sex offenders comfortably hiding in plain sight. He is calling for the immediate release of a sex offenders registry and law reform that allows for the identity of perpetrators to be released so that others would not fall victim should these offenders get the legal slap on the wrist.
Has been charged. Now, most times you cannot say people's names until they've been charged. He's been charged. So this thing about this law, we have to protect this. We're not mentioning the perpetrator's name because we want to protect the minor. How is that protecting the minor? That's protecting him. Our legislators need to get together immediately. We need a sex offenders registry. We need a list. We need them out there. We need people to know. Because today or tomorrow, if this guy makes bail and just come and moves right back into our neighborhood, cases take forever in St. Lucia. So 2-3 years is just in our neighborhood. We don't know who he is or why. This needs to stop. I'm furious.
According to him, society has found a way to blame the victim instead of protecting them.
It's infuriating. It pisses me off. It pisses me off. And maybe it's the law. And so maybe that's where we need to rally as citizens. We are a bunch of cowards. We are a bunch of cowards. Politicians can get us to do anything. We'll curse our mothers for politicians. But at that bail hearing yesterday, how many people showed up? How many St. Lucians showed up to say, we do not stand for this? And I don't want to hear another person say it was for sex. It's for rape. That's how I feel about it. Too many times we blame, and they're going to find a way to blame that 11-year-old. Somebody will say, at that age, she looks 18, she womanish. Have you ever seen her walk and talk, or the music she listens to, or how she carries it? Somebody will find a way to blame the victim. Happens in St. Lucia all the time. I don't care if the victim in a rape case or molestation case was a prostitute.
Sickened by the thought of the incident, Cherry speaks on the lingering trauma that follows victims and highlights society's oblivion to the real perpetrators, who he says hide behind official titles.
There are grown women right now that can't have a healthy relationship because of the abuse they've suffered as a child. They can't trust, they can't love, they can't even allow people to touch them. It affects their whole life. Their whole life. And most times those people have nobody to turn to. They're poor, they're struggling, and it's easy for society to come down on them and to make them feel like they did something wrong, or she was wearing the short pants, she was flirting with him. Somebody can flirt all they want with you, and when they say no, it's no. It's no. And these people live a life going through anxiety and depression, suicidal thoughts. And when we see them in those conditions, we still find a way to make fun of them. And the real criminals wear sometimes a shirt and tie and walks with a briefcase, and we call them Sir this and Sir that and Mr.
Cherry is calling on law enforcement to take a stand against sexual violence even when the perpetrator is one of their own. He says the biased culture of only condoning crimes when it's close to a subject needs to end.
And I'm calling on every police officer to come out and talk against that. This case is not the only one. We have too many examples of police abuse of their spouses, male and female. We have too many cases of police going to assist citizens and then finding themselves involved in sexual stuff with them and being charged, and we don't hear about it. They make bail and they're out or on suspension. I don't know what the rules are in terms of their pay, but they're just living their best life. But if a ghetto youth is arrested and charged, immediately you hear the name and even the pictures now.
Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
The growing number of minor youth getting involved in crime has become a cause for pause among civil society leaders. Several examples can be referenced in police news releases that have identified individuals under the legal age being arrested and detained for their involvement in gun-related activities and robberies. One such case was highlighted this week, where at least 2 minors were among those arrested during a police operation at Wilton's Yard, which recovered several stolen items believed to have been from a robbery on Microlab. Education Officer for District 1, Cyrus Sapal, has condemned the involvement of students in violence and has continuously called for greater interventions to be established to deter students from engaging in antisocial and nefarious behavior. His comments come on the heels of what appears to be an uptick in the number of students being influenced by negative behavior. Speaking on the issue, Sapal draws on one example of deviant behavior and what he believes could be the cause.
As recent as this school year, the police had to be called because you have groups of persons, and I don't want to say gang, groups of persons on the outside waiting for students that they have an issue with. And then now what you find now is that while they wait for that one person, then what they do now, they also attack other students. We have also a situation where you have probably student of the school okay, who are members of that group, and then who make the arrangement to have them to come by the school around the time when school is about to be dismissed and so on. And then that's the time now that they do attack the innocent children who are just simply trying to make their way home. So it is not just a city problem, but then the other schools, yes, in District 1, we are also feeling the pinch of this problem.
Sipal stressed that while student involvement in crime is a major cause for concern, it cannot be addressed on a one-size-fits-all basis.
There are students who get involved in violence and the gangs and so on because of different reasons. One, some of them because of financial reasons. That's just one reason. Two, you have some because of social problems. So they get into it. Three, you have those because of family issues. So they get into this group. Then you have four, some because of biological problems. So you see, so it's not a one-size-fits-all to deal with the crime issue.
Stay with us. We have more news coming up after this.